The following presentation will briefly discuss consumer behaviour at Cromford Mills and how we can offer an e-marketing plan to retain the current market and attract a new one. In order for us to understand the structure of the presentation, the following academic model was used. This plan enabled us to understand exactly what was required from us to successfully create an e-marketing plan. We firstly understood the current situation through understanding the destination from a consumer's perspective, through a questioning session and through identifying the target market and understanding their current e-marketing facilities. We then identified any flaws or areas for improvement, then by segmenting the target market which was identified and then selecting the appropriate strategy, which was the second part of this academic model, the formulation process. We selected the appropriate channel where we found the main priority and area for improvement was their e-marketing. We identified the appropriate channels, which was the formulation process, and reached stage 3, which was implementation, which is where the communication plan was created to illustrate how this plan would be implemented, and then evaluated the expected response by comparing their e-marketing to similar businesses and supporting organisations to identify further areas for improvement, which is where recommendations were made. Understanding the destination awareness. Cromford Mills is a former water power cotton spinning mill located in Cromford, England. It was the first cotton spinning mill to be powered by water and the first successful industrial-scale cotton production factory. It's had a tremendous influence on the cotton industry as well as the Industrial Revolution and is considered one of the first modern factories. It was Richard Arkwright who built the mill with his business partners in 1771, which began to operate in 1772. This impacted the economy locally, creating jobs, pride and a culture in the area. Sir Arkwright later created a carding machine which turned raw cotton into yarn, and this made them a fortune. Upon the death of Arkwright in 1792, the Arkwright family continued to own the mill as it ceased to function in the late 19th century. The Arkwright Society was later formed in 1971, and the society decided to restore the buildings, investing £4 million to preserve the significance of the building. It was later declared a World Heritage Site along with other mills in 2001. Mission and objectives. This quote shows it is critical to know who your customers are in order to know how their needs can be satisfied, and also discusses that it is equally important to have clear missions and objectives. Internally, we are aware that Cromford Mills want to increase their visitor numbers to inevitably see an increase on investment. However, while understanding the current situation, we found this can also be applied externally to the website and creating their own identity. It is just as important to show your consumers your mission and what you believe in for them to have something to believe in, and the purpose, which is why a good recommendation for their website would also be to show their market what their mission is by creating a mission statement which is transparent on all relative e-marketing channels. Identifying the target market. Awareness. As Tom J illustrated in the last slide, it is just as critically important to understand who your target market is and who is actually involved. However, as the overall mission is to increase visitor numbers through an e-marketing plan, the target market involved isn't just existing customers, but it is the stakeholders as well. They can impact the overall mission of increasing visitor numbers through an integrated e-marketing and through supporting each other's organisation and cooperating to increase and enhance the search engine optimization. As you can see, this slide shows the stakeholders involved, along with the clientele they need to attract. The stakeholders already play a big part in the e-marketing for Cromford Mills, as all the relevant information the Cromford Mills website should have in terms of making web usability more easier is accessible on the internet. However, it has been distributed through different channels, which is making the consumer experience relatively difficult. And it is accessibility that has proved to be a motivational factor when visiting a destination, and it can impact a consumer experience. The potential market has also been identified, such as any groups or societies who have an interest in Industrial Revolution, history and heritage, and even just for educational purposes. Along with this, it would really benefit the company if they attracted the market which passes on a regular basis, such as the local community and even the microcultures, such as wildlife spotters and walkers, as this particular clientele has already been drawn into the village of Cromford, and it is just a case of communicating with them to attract them to visit your attraction. Another potential customer are businesses and enterprises which may want to use the conference facilities. This could certainly increase the revenue. Therefore, marketing to this customer needs to be more effective, because with all potential customers it is critical to adapt, improvise and overcome. However, whilst understanding Cromford Mills, it was quite clear that their online marketing does not show any sign of them adapting to their markets. Which brings us to the next slide. Segmenting the market and disintermediation. In order to communicate with your target market effectively, it is crucial to select the appropriate strategy or channels, which is also the second stage of the academic model used to structure this presentation, the formulation process, which is why the market was segmented in order for us to identify which information would be most relevant to these groups and to use disintermediation to gain competitive advantage. We identified the overall market involved into three groups. The first group was formed as it was identified that everyone in this group wants factual information, such as information on changes, future and upcoming events, information on basic services, opportunities to increase revenue, opportunities for integrated marketing, and to know the mission and vision of the organisation. It was quite clear that this group can benefit the e-marketing channel for Cromford Mills. The second group wanted to be notified of changes, opportunities for jobs, and to be bought by the mission and vision of the destination. And finally, the last group. The final group clearly needs a sense of belonging, and in this case, communication is key, and it is the quality instead of the quantity. And this group needs to be inspired by a mission statement and vision. They need their required information to be easily accessible, such as local amenities, the mission statement, capacity, facilities and services, and not only online, however at the destination as well, as a well-posted destination will attract consumers. Marketing. So what is marketing in general? Dr. Philip Kotler defines marketing as satisfying the needs of a target market at a profit. In this case, we are satisfying the market by simplifying web usability and increasing SEO to give the consumer access to the relevant information they need. Marketing should identify unfulfilled needs and desires. If the correct marketing channels are used, such as channels which are more interactive, any unfulfilled needs would be highlighted as customers have a chance to express their needs. And finally, it pinpoints the segments the company is capable of serving best. Now we have identified and segmented the markets, which are a strategic asset to the company, it is vital for the company to look at the segments within the organisation it is capable of serving best to these particular markets. Online marketing is made up of many components, as you can see on this slide, and Cromford Mills needs to adapt to this growing technology in order to succeed as a destination. More and more people are using technology. It is a growing industry and a trend which people are adapting to. It has become the norm to have access to all of the facilities above, and Cromford Mills need to adapt to this. There are niche websites, social websites, and social marketing that are currently supporting and promoting Cromford Mills. However, these aren't easily accessible through their main website. Their results for their search engine optimization are quite low, as they don't yet have a blog. They do not email newsletters highlighting changes and upcoming events. There are no discussion forums open for Cromford Mills, and their social marketing still has room for improvement, as their social sites are not interlinked with their main website. There is room for improvement in each one of these areas. Previous research has shown that a website and the usability is the customer service face on a main website. If you can't find what you are looking for, you inevitably feel out of place or on the wrong site, which is why this is a priority for Cromford Mills to enhance and improve their existing online resources by combining all relevant information in one place to create a better consumer experience. As you can see, a marketing grader review showed us that Cromford Mills' website scored 19 out of a possible 100 for overall online marketing. This result considers all external sites such as main websites it is interlinked with, and scores the sites in terms of blogging, mobile and responsive design, lead generation, social sites and search engine optimization. As you can see, there is certainly room for improvement in terms of their remarketing. So where do these improvements need to be made? As you can see on the screenshot of Cromford Mills homepage, their current tabs show Home, Heritage, History, Significance, Resources and offer a biography, yet the header states the birth of the modern factory, and there is nothing modern about this homepage. They need to embrace their history of being the first modern factory and emphasize the fact that it is modern, and continue with that image by enhancing their homepage. Their homepage should contain their mission and vision statement, as the segments all found this was a common ground. Another ideal tab to have would be About Us, which highlights all the services and facilities they offer, including local amenities, accessibility, prices. This would appeal to the majority of their target market. A Contact Us tab, where customers are able to liaise with the company, as this will determine areas for improvement, complaints, and monitor effectiveness. And the 4 middle tabs, which discuss the background, can all be combined under one tab for history, and just offering external links for accessibility to their supporting pages would increase their SEO massively, because the support is out there. The next slide shows an insight to what information is actually out there for Cromford Mills on other supporting websites. The following information on Cromford Mills is all provided by external links such as Peak District information, Derwent Valley Mills, and even Canal River Trust. It describes the mill as one of the 100 treasures of Britain. As you can see, the Oakwright Society page offers all the relative information which should be provided on their homepage, such as information on visiting, pre-booked tours, restaurants, accommodation, conferences and function rooms, and even newsletters from Cromford Mills. This should be all provided on the main website for Cromford Mills, and it isn't surprising that the Oakwright Society scored 59 out of 100 on the marketing grader. A lot can be taken away from this slide. It is a very similar organisation trying to preserve canals and rivers, and it is supporting a river just walking distances from Cromford Mills, and as you can see, scored 62 out of 100 by a marketing grader. It has RSS feeds, Facebook, Twitter, and a way to contact them. It offers a sign-in option which is personalised. It offers the latest news, events, and it is very clear in the content it provides. It offers a search tab and has realised even though they are trying to preserve something, they are still adapting to the changes in technology to assist them in their goal, which is very clear in their motto, keeping people, nature and history connected. A more effective motto for Cromford Mills could be the birth of a modern factory in a modern society. So how can we market to our clientele to ensure we see an increase on visitor numbers? Well, for the first group, it is quite clear that this group plays a pivotal role in generating an income, which is why it is just as important to invest in this group by adapting to responsive design, which will improve their mobile site, by sending out a regular newsletter via email to keep them involved, by creating a blog for more interaction, by creating an app which can be accessed regularly. Another idea was also to offer events to microcultures such as wildlife spotters and walkers, as you're attracting a whole new market. The second group just required to be kept informed, and this can be done through a newsletter and by maintaining their social sites. And finally, Group 3, it is tantamount to manage this group closely and to keep the group updated in order to gain advantage by managing change management effectively, sending out newsletter, offering a Contact Us tab, again, keeping social sites maintained, and by creating an app specifically designed to provide any new updates and information on changes. Changes that could be made to the website is by adding a mission statement, creating a logo, promoting it as a destination with an emphasis on modernisation, and by making their beliefs and purposes more transparent so they can attract a larger market. By finding an opinion leader in each of these 3 segments, their marketing messages would be a lot more effective. And whilst conducting this analysis, a gap was identified. Cromford Mills love their history and heritage, so to ensure people know the core purpose of the building, a new society could be formed which promotes the pride and culture which came from Cromford Mills when it was first established. They could hold an annual anniversary which would promote itself as a pride and culture society, which could be formed, as there is a gap for this society to be formed for everyone who doesn't want to let go of the significance yet has still become modernised. Further recommendations which could be made to increase online publicity and increase visitor numbers is by working alongside competitors to offer a better consumer experience, by creating packages with local businesses and increasing the local revenue, by getting all the locals involved and creating a win-win situation. You're giving the local community a reason to be involved and creating a sense of belonging. If this is carried out, the locals would all want to participate in the Pride and Culture Society, even if it's just to be kept informed for any opportunities where they can increase their revenue. And by offering Christmas markets, treasure hunts, it gives more reasons to visit Cromford Mills. This will help in the online marketing, giving the organisation an event to promote and a reason to promote Cromford Mills. It gives people a chance to interact and to take pictures, which may later be posted on Cromford's page, creating a better image. A good publicity stunt would be to invite a large business for a team building session or to host an event which would be marketed through their channels. In return, you will gain media attention and attract a larger audience. Thank you for listening.